Today I want to talk about one of my favorite scenes in animation, the train scene in Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away. Spirited Away may be the single most famous animated film to ever come out of Japan. The film was released on July 20th, 2001, and became the most successful film in Japanese history, grossing about $289 million worldwide. It is the only hand-drawn animated film to ever win an Academy Award for Best Animated Picture, and it routinely makes the best of lists for anime, animation, and films in general. For those of you who have never seen it, 1. Go watch it. It really is worth your time. Also, there will be some spoilers from here on out. But the story follows a young girl, Chihiro, who accidentally stumbles into the spirit world when she and her parents get lost on their way to their new house. Her parents are transformed into pigs because they eat food meant for the spirits, and Chihiro must work in the spirit bathhouse, making friends and surviving until she and her parents can return home. The movie is considered an anime classic, and it's easy to see why. The animation is top-notch, the music is ridiculously beautiful, the story is engaging. It invokes Alice in Wonderland, coming-of-age themes alongside a critical look at capitalist consumerism and Western influence on post-war Japan, themes of greed, of environmentalism, of generational conflicts and economic anxiety, the role of young women in society, and at the core of all of it, an ordinary girl on an extraordinary adventure. When talking about developing the film, Miyazaki had this to say about Chihiro. I created a heroine who is an ordinary girl, someone with whom the audience can sympathize. It's not a story in which the characters grow up, but a story in which they draw on something already inside them, brought out by the particular circumstances. I want my young friends to live like that, and I think they too have such a wish. Spirited Away is not my favorite Ghibli film. Princess Mononoke has had that place of honor since I was in middle school. But when I'm trying to introduce someone to Ghibli films, especially non-anime fans, Spirited Away is almost always where I start. Out of all of Miyazaki's work, Spirited Away may be the one with the most traditional plot structure. Many of his movies, like, say, My Neighbor Totoro or Kiki's Delivery Service, do not have a traditional central conflict or clear plot arcs, but instead rely on emotional development to move the film along. These films, while wonderful, can feel more meandering and directionless to a general audience. And while Spirited Away is not the only one of his films to contain both clear external conflicts and internal emotional arcs, Howl's Moving Castle certainly does, for example, the strength and engagement of both of these aspects of the film certainly make it one of his finest. And right in the middle of the movie, right after the height of frantic action, Haku's bloody escape from Zeniba's paper assassins, Chihiro being chased through the bathhouse by No-Face, Haku being shoved down a chimney shaft and left for dead, Chihiro must go on a quest to beg forgiveness for Haku from the Witch of the Swamp, Zeniba, and so she must board the spirit train and face this new unknown for the sake of a friend. And then the movie just breathes. A different film might show a quick shot of Chihiro entering the train, maybe one shot of the landscape, and then her exiting the train. But no, not Spirited Away. It breathes. This scene starts at 1 hour and 39 minutes into the film, and it lasts just over 2 minutes. And well, okay, there's a lot to unpack here. That's 2 solid minutes of no dialogue, very little character movement, and no narration. Just scenery and instrumental music. It's a scene that you'd be hard-pressed to find in your run-of-the-mill DreamWorks or Disney film, even at their best, and it sticks with you. My first gut reaction to this scene is always to try to pick it apart. We are told that the train used to run both ways, but now is only a one-way trip. We know Kamaji the Boilerman had tickets that are hard to get. Either they are rare or expensive. We know the train has many stops and moves from the bathhouse, which is very close to the human world, away into the swamp, the 6th stop, and beyond. So, who are these passengers? Unlike the very substantial and inhuman spirits that work in the bathhouse, these figures are transparent, silent human forms. The spirits of the recently dead, maybe? Does the train take them from the human world, near the bathhouse, deeper into the spirit world to some kind of resting place? Is the train a metaphor for death? But all the spirits get off at different stops. Is this why the train only runs one way? Because you can't come back from the dead? When did it run both ways? In the past, were there more ghosts on Earth? Could spirits more easily visit the world of the living? What changed? Is it the modernization and industrialization of Japan? And what about these locations the train goes by? The farmhouse surrounded by water, the isolated town, the train station with the little spirit girl waiting for a passenger who doesn't appear. Or is she just watching the train for sport? All surrounded by this shallow, mirror-like sea. Are these places real, physical locations? Are they haunted? Are they some kind of final afterlife? And what's up with the neon signs? It's hard for me, as an American who grew up with Western, heavily Christian-influenced ideas of the afterlife, with a degree in English from an American school, trained to interpret visual metaphors through a Western lens, to make a whole lot of sense of Miyazaki's portrayal of spirits and the supernatural without the assistance of research. And as far as I can tell, either no one has ever asked Miyazaki about this particular scene, or he has never given an answer about it. But ultimately, none of these questions matter. If they mattered, the movie would have explained them to us. Instead, the movie just breathes for 2 quiet minutes, allowing the day to slip into night, Chihiro steadfast and brave in this tranquil but melancholy moment. You could cut this scene out of the movie and not lose any plot. And I think that's the key. When watching a scene like this, we ask, what information does this scene contain? A flashback could contain character motivation information. Dialogue-heavy scenes might include vital plot information. An establishing shot includes setting information. So what information do we get from the train scene? We don't learn anything about the plot or the conflict. We don't learn anything about the character motivations or their past. We don't even really learn anything about this world or the setting of the story. What we get, instead, is purely emotional information. This scene has a strong sense of mood, calm, somewhat melancholy, like something that can't quite be remembered as being missed. Compared to the chaos that came before it, the scene gives the audience a minute to stop, to reflect, to just feel an emotion with no story to clutter it up. And I think that's why it exists. This idea of the calm space between moments is explained by Miyazaki in an interview he did with Roger Ebert in 1999. Ebert told Miyazaki that he loved the gratuitous motion in his movies, the way that sometimes a character would be animated to wiggle their shoes for an extra second before putting them on, or stare off into the distance for a moment. Miyazaki replied, "We have a word for that in Japanese. It's called ma, emptiness. It's there intentionally." He then clapped his hands 3 or 4 times. This time between my clapping is ma. If you have non-stop action with no breathing space at all, it's just busyness. But if you take a moment, then the tension building of the film can grow into a wider dimension. If you just have constant tension at 80 degrees all the time, you get numb. Spirited Away has a lot of action in it, and a lot of conflict. Chihiro's goal is to get her parents back, trying to do well in the bathhouse, dealing with the river spirit with no face, trying to understand if Haku is trustworthy or not forgetting her own name. It skates in at just above 2 hours in runtime, and that's a lot of conflict to establish, develop, and resolve in 125 minutes. And still, Miyazaki gives us 2 minutes of ma. 2 minutes of quiet music and soft reflection to let the film grow into a wider dimension. Spirited Away is not a perfect film. It's not my favorite film. But it is a beautiful way to spend 2 hours and let Miyazaki's story bloom inside you. Thank you all for watching this video. My channel is still really new, so every comment and like is really appreciated. If you liked this video and would like to see more videos of this queer millennial feminist ramble about things I like for a while, feel free to subscribe. See you down in the comments.